What are you doing in my soul space? I'm going to get all of you tonight, including your little dog. So what's... I knew I wasn't going to be able to do this without laughing. Hi, everybody, and welcome to the Soul Space. Can you tell it's almost Halloween? And I love to dress up, and I love to make you guys all think I'm otherworldly, because I am. So tonight we're going to talk about a little astrology and a little Halloween. And then I'd love for you to call in and tell me your scariest, spookiest Halloween stories. So first I have to share this show. So while you all get ready and make yourselves comfortable and come online with me, I'm going to be sharing the show to other people that I can play tricks on. It feels good to be back in the soul space, I have to say. I hope you've all been enjoying the soul space. So how is the astrology going right now? I have to tell you, it's going to be a very spooky week. It's going to be very scary, with a lot of darkness and dark things coming through. So be careful if you get a trick or a treat. So, my little pretties, let's talk astrology. This week is going to be very, very scary. We've got Mars going into Scorpio. So what happens when Mars goes into Scorpio, you ask? I knew you would need me for something soon. When Mars goes into Scorpio, things get hot and spicy and passionate. But they also get very jealous and possessive and freaky. So if you're a freak and you like to get down, then Halloween's going to be for you. But if you're a little bit more on the prudish side, stay home. Watch a movie. Because this Halloween is going to be quite the hot spot for everybody. So, I'm just sharing the show to my page Zenkuda, and I hope you'll all go on there very soon and see all of the posts that we have. But for now, we're just going to share the show. So, Mars in Scorpio, very hot. Mars in Scorpio also likes to do things that are taboo, forbidden. Something that you don't want anyone to know about usually happens with Mars in Scorpio. Mars in Scorpio is transformation. It is things revealed. So in the next week, especially around the 29th and 30th, you're going to see that things are going to come to light that you never expected, both in your personal life and in your romantic partnerships. Yeah. Mars in Scorpio has a tendency to do that. And we've got Venus in Sagittarius now. Venus in Sagittarius is going to bring us truths revealed. And then Mars in Scorpio is like a big bonfire that's going to light them all up. So I would think that your relationships are going to be on fire this week. We all know how much a good witch loves fire. So let me see who's on tonight. Who's watching my show? Hopefully you all are. Otherwise I may cast an evil spell on you. So tune into Strong Island Television immediately and watch the Soul Space. La ha ha ha. Alrighty, here we are. So who have I got online tonight? Let me see. Tune into Strong Island Television. Ooh, that's me. I'm in stereo. I'm a witch in stereo. Huh, been waiting for that all my life. Okay. So now we've got some people on. I've got 9 comments. Kate Baldwin wants to know if that means that my dead husband is coming back to haunt me. More than likely, Kate, yes, your dead husband is coming back to haunt you. No, it doesn't necessarily mean that. Actually, what it means is that the ghosts are coming back, ghosts of our past, ghosts of things that we have unfinished. Because the veil between worlds right now is very, very thin. And what does that mean? The old Celtic and pagan rituals of Samhain, Samhain is the original Halloween. And Samhain is known as a time in olden days and pagan times of a time of harvest. And what the communities used to do is they would have these big bonfires in the middle of the community. And they would do it in the form of a circle, because the circle was very symbolic of the sun coming in. And they would be grateful for all of the harvest they had. But they also felt that because it was a time when the universe was getting darker in most of the world, the days shorter, that the time of the harvest was light and good. So they lit the fires in a circle to emulate the sun. But the time of the darkness and the days getting shorter was the darkness coming in. So it was thought, and still is thought today, that this time is a time when dark and light are very close together and the veil between them really thins out. And we have this beautiful time when we can walk between worlds, between dark and light. But there are some great things about that between dark and light. And we'll get to that in a minute, Kate. So keep watching, all right? Usually if you find a spirit coming in or giving you a message, it's usually because they want to reconcile something with you, either in a loving way or in a way that will help you progress more in this lifetime. So hi, Gira. How is everybody tonight? I see everybody's on. Who else have I got on here tonight? I have so many people on. You're all loving the show, I see. So, that darkness and light is the theme of Halloween and originally Samhain. And that theme of darkness and light is what we're going to talk about a lot tonight, because it's also a time when the sun goes into Scorpio. And when the sun goes into Scorpio, as it did this week, that also is a time when the sun is, in our part of the hemisphere, bringing in winter and darkness and the time of darkness. But this is a time when we can be introspective and think about our lives and do a review. We're going to talk about those rituals tonight. But first with the astrology, Mars in Scorpio, the 29th and the 30th, which is Friday and Saturday, are going to be really days when things kind of break loose. You're going to have things revealed. You're going to have things coming to a head in relationships. And some of you may have some, aha moments. I mean, I will tell you, this Saturday night especially, the world is going to be rocking. Just rocking. I love it when the world rocks. So, that witch just keeps coming out. I think I'm just channeling something between The Wizard of Oz and, I don't know, there was a movie with Jack Nicholson. But anyway, I digress. Venus is going into Sagittarius, which means truthfulness, which is going to be a little bit uncomfortable. But Venus in Sagittarius likes to dig. It likes to find out what these things are about, what's going on in your life, what makes a person tick. So when you have Mars in Scorpio, which is a moving kind of energy, a potent kind of energy, it's like I said, passionate and deep and earth-shaking. That's the kind of energy that things kind of shift. The intensity shifts. And when it does, we're going to have these aha moments in relationships. It's kind of like, you're in a relationship for a long time, and all of a sudden you look up from the breakfast table and say, oh my God, he's my mother. Or, oh my God, how did I not see it? This is, my boss is my father. The same kind of energy. So it's going to be those type of aha moments that reveal something that brings out some kind of a beautiful healing of our past. And that's what we mean when we say the ghosts are coming in. It's the ghosts of our past. It's a great time for renegotiating in relationships. When you get this aha moment, you suddenly realize how you need to have a different perspective or how you need to, relate to this person differently. That is going to be a beautiful blessing for you. And that'll be your treat. So big reveals. This is going to possibly reveal things that were started. The energy line started last December of 2020. So think back, or if you journal, look in your journals for that line of energy that's now going to complete. This is an energy of charging forward. So the energy is changing now. We felt very held back all these summer and early fall months. And now as we go more into the deep fall and the winter, we're going to see the movement of some things. The sun this week is at 1 to 8 degrees of Scorpio. So if you have any planets, 1 to 8 degrees of a sign, especially a fixed sign, you're going to feel this energy more. Mercury is coming out of retrograde, but it's still in shadow. So combined with that beautiful, passionate Scorpion energy and that beautiful Venus energy that wants to dig for the truth, Mercury is going to dispel a lot of illusions, especially on Saturday. So Saturday night is going to be a night of aha moments, passion, possession, jealousy, and or real romantic passion, but delusions will be dispelled. You're going to suddenly see the light. And then as we progress into the next week, that light that you've seen is going to become a little bit of a problem until you reconcile it. But you will reconcile it in this energy. We have Neptune in Pisces, which is building energy, which is definitely going to bring us some things. Today the moon's in Gemini, and that's why we all have a tendency to talk a little fast, be a little fast, all that kind of stuff. So Kate, don't worry. If your husband comes in to say hi, it's probably he's just coming in to give you a little kiss on the cheek, pat on the back, and go back to wherever he came from. Also, this week I want to say that I'm just going to keep checking my comments because for some reason they don't always come up. Let me do this. I'm going to go into the Halloween a little bit now. I have some rituals to talk about with you, but we are going to open the phone lines because I want to hear your Halloween stories. You know, what's going on in your neck of the woods? Or what have you, in past Halloweens, have you guys had some experiences that you felt were really cool and you want to come in and talk about them tonight? Phone number's on the screen, I believe, right, Bob? And so call in. We got a live call-in show here. So let's go, people. If you don't call in, I'll put a spell on you. And your little dog, too. Okay. So Samhain. Kate already said Irish for change of season, and it's true. Like I said, Samhain and Halloween started out as real celebrations. Even in this country, when the tradition of Halloween came through, it was because the early settlers wanted a time of celebration for harvest. So it was always thought to be a day when not only is the veil between worlds thin because you've got light and dark coming in to really meet, it was a day of being grateful and giving thanksgiving. The idea of costumes actually originated because in the very olden times, like we're talking pagan, Celtic, people would dress up because they thought that as the light and dark was a time of where the worlds were really kind of colliding and there wasn't that deep separation between the two worlds, people were afraid that they were actually going to be kidnapped or stolen from some kind of a ghost or goblin coming in from the other dark world. We all know that's really not something that would happen, but they had those beliefs, so they used to dress up in costume in order to hide from the goblins or the monsters that they felt might snatch them and bring them back to the underworld. It was also always a time when people actually praised or were in gratitude for people who departed, and it was a time they really honored them. So we're going to talk about some traditions that we can do now in the present world, while the barriers between the physical world and the spiritual world are really thin, and how we can take advantage of that to bring more light into our lives and use the darkness to find more light and confront our own shadow self to bring more light in. So we're going to talk about that. And if you have a story to tell, please just, call into the show. Next week, we've got a fabulous guest. Next week, we have Joseph Dario coming on. He's a great psychic. Many of you know him. He's given great talks at the Eyes of Learning and all kinds of things. He's very gifted, very talented. He's going to be on the show. We're going to talk all things beyond the five senses. And the week after that, on November 8th, we have Bob Bellucci, who is a member of the very famous and popular band Radio Flashback. We're going to talk about music and spirituality and how sometimes music moves our energy and brings us joy. So that's going to be a great show. So definitely tune in next Monday for Joseph Dario, because he is going to knock your socks off with his psychic stuff, and you can actually call into the show for that as well. So if anybody wants to call in tonight, I'm a-waiting. So I want to talk about some rituals, like I said, and my computer keeps freezing, so I can't see all my comments, but I'm going to fix that in a minute. So here we go. So since it's such a great time to do ritual, use fire a lot. Now, I'm not saying to use fire indoors. Always be careful. I'm talking about candles or, fire pits and things like that, because this is a time of year when fire is very important. We've got light and dark coming in, and fire can be either constructive, right? It can be fuel for us to eat and make food and energy that progresses us, or it can be for destruction. So it's very symbolic of light and dark. So that's why fire is used in a lot of ceremonies. It's also used in a lot of ceremony because it burns away negativity, right? It brings us more beautiful light coming to the surface. So candle gazing, fire gazing is really potent in this energy. You may find that when you're out back, if you have a fire going, or if you're in your house and simply gazing at a candle, that you may be able to see things in the flames that are messages for you, because the veil is so thin right now, they'll come through easily. Also, any kind of ceremony, engaging a circle or a wheel is very important. When the veil is very thin, it's also a great time to use your pendulums. I have this pendulum for a very long time that I like to use, and it's a Maltese cross on the pendulum, which is a very strong symbol for me. Maltese crosses, if anyone knows, were given to the soldiers on Malta, and the Maltese, when they were burned, and it was a symbolic of the first time fire was ever used in war. And so they were given the Maltese cross, and that comes from the island of Malta. It's a very, very sacred symbol for me, and I know for many. So my pendulum is a Maltese cross pendulum. And when you use a pendulum, which is also known as dowsing, this time of year, the universe is very open, and that veil between the physical and spiritual world is so thin. It's always very important to protect yourself. So one of the things that you can do if you're going to do any dowsing or any ritual or any ceremony or even a meditation is take a piece of selenite or a selenite wand, and if you're sitting on the floor wherever you are, you want to draw a circle clockwise around you with the piece of selenite. And that opens the sacred space. I just actually got a feeling in my chakras. That opens the sacred space, and when you're done with your ritual or meditation, you can close the sacred space by going in the counterclockwise with that piece of selenite or selenite wand. Very good thing to do, because selenite cleans air, it cleans the energy, all right? So getting back to the pendulum, once you've established your sacred space, with pendulums, basically you just ask a question. And with a pendulum, usually back and forth from north to south, depending on what way you're facing, is a yes. And usually if your pendulum swings like this way, it's a no. Or you can assign it whatever you want. A circle can be yes, a back and forth motion this way can be a no. And you can ask a pendulum questions. And this is known as dowsing, and sometimes people put cards on the table or photos and use that as a dowsing, kind of where the pendulum will go. But what you want to do when you are using a pendulum, and as I say, this time of year, very, very popular, very good time to use pendulums, is you want to clear your mind. Because, subconsciously, we can put our energy in the pendulum and then it will swing a certain way. So it's a great divination tool. It's a clean divination tool, especially if you connect it to spirit and light. It'll really help you answer questions in your life and really project what you need to project. This big. You can see my comments. Okay. So Sarah says, this probably isn't the kind of story you were thinking of, but her dad died on October 31st, which is Halloween, and we had expected it for 2 or 3 days and kept telling him it was okay to go. That last day, my aunt drove 5 hours and surprised us. She spent the next 3 hours at his bedside, only to get up when the nurse came to check on him. Within minutes, it was time. He had waited for her. He also hadn't spoken in months, and with his last breath said, yes, it was beautiful, and I never made the Halloween connection before. Interesting. Yeah, that is a really interesting story, that your dad, not only passed on Halloween, but rallied enough to pass between worlds. He was hovering between worlds, right, light and dark, and couldn't cross over. But then when this loved one came, the light and the dark parted for him, that he'd come back here for a little while in order to make his trip. That's a beautiful story, Sarah. And what I will tell you about that story is it's very, very common. One of the things this time of year that happens, and you can even, use Facebook and scroll through your feed and see how many people have lost parents or loved ones, and animals also, especially. These are the times of year when the animals and our loved ones progress to the other side, because the veil is thinner and it's easier for them to cross over. So the last half of October and the first week of November is traditional for that. As a matter of fact, the day after Halloween is known as All Saints or All Souls Day, or the Day of the Dead. And that is a day traditionally for many, many thousands of years that we acknowledge and we are grateful and we pay homage to the people that have passed and our departed loved ones. So it's really a beautiful time of year if you really think about it. Selenite, Gira, is a crystal. You can purchase that at any crystal store or a metaphysical shop. You can even get some online. And it's just a very pure crystal. It's a form of real white energy. Selenite is also used a lot for healing. I have a beautiful selenite wand that I actually massage my dog Sparky with, and he just loves it. It like puts him into a little positive energy flow. It's very, very good for positive energy. So also bear in mind when we do ceremony and ritual around the time of Samhain that many of these rituals originated as rituals that were community-based. It was very common when the pagans or the Celtics or even our settlers, whenever they had a bonfire or a circular fire or any kind of a burning ritual, which was very common. I mean, they even had barn burnings, right? So if something was dilapidated, harvest, they traditionally lit a very large fire as celebration. It was very traditional for the town folk or the community folk to take a torch to that bonfire of community and bring the fire back to their own homes and light their fires. So it was a way to actually present unity on a spiritual level. So, you know, that light and dark has a lot of spiritual unity to it, and the fact that we are all very similar in our struggle with light and dark. So I'm going to give you guys some things that you can do, some celebrations. Also remember that fire is a symbol of the sun. And the sun in astrology is our life force. So whenever we candle gaze or light a candle or have a fire, make sure that you are connecting that with your life force to give you energy. I have a very common habit of whenever I have people in my home, especially if we gather in my dining room, I light a small votive candle by the picture I have of my ancestors who are all departed. And the reason I do that is because I want to bring light to them so that they enjoy our celebration, because I know they're with us in spirit and watching us from the other side. So I allow them light to see our celebration and be part of it. And it's my little ritual of honoring my departed ancestors, some of whom I never even knew, but I know that we carry the same bloodline and the same traditions. And so those traditions, when my family's over, I have gatherings, I try and bring in that unity of community that spans the generations. And it's really just a beautiful feeling. So remember that community celebration. Remember, you know, lighting a fire in your home. If you go to a full moon ceremony or a new moon ceremony this year, I believe there's a new moon on the 4th, you know, and there's any kind of fire ceremony, take a little bit of that home with you and in a candle or whatever and relight it in your home or whatever you can do. Because the veil is thin between worlds, ancestors are expected to cross over more frequently during this time, and that does include pets. It's just easier for them. There was also some things when the people used to dress up to avoid capture by the other world or whatever, you know, these beliefs that now we don't really believe. There were a lot of things that happened that they created certain guides or things from the underworld. And one that was very popular was Puka. And Puka was a Celtic guide that would come and guide you either to the underworld or to back to the light. And that was he was a shapeshifter. And that's why people used to actually dress in costume, because they never knew what form Puka was going to take. So very interesting. I talked about All Saints Day. I'm just looking at my notes. Oh, why do witches ride brooms? Does anyone know how that originated? I want to know if you guys know, why do witches ride brooms? So I can tell you. So witches ride brooms, or how that tradition came, was because there used to be a fertility festival and a fertility ritual where farmers back in the old days would actually do something called the broom dance. And it was a broomstick dance. It was actually a fertility ritual. They would go out in the fields at night and dance around with brooms. So that just kind of, you know, like the old game of telephone where everybody seems to have the story misconstrued as they go. When they started to find witches and burn witches and things like that, it started to be told that, oh, I saw a witch flying around in the night, because they had this tradition of broomstick dancing. So it was just one of those things that morphed and became some kind of a confused story about witches flying around on brooms. So I'm going to tell you how to honor this time and make the best of this time of when the days get shorter, and we're going to be going into daylight savings time in the East Coast here. The way to make the best use of this time is to set aside time to let go of old attachments. That light and darkness and falling through each of those beautiful energies, intertwining light and dark, and the veil being so thin in between, is a fabulous time for us to let go of what no longer serves us. It's a fabulous time for us to be accepting of our future. It's a disillusion of the illusions that we have. It's paths that have no heart, letting go of those. So tap in and drop into that beautiful heart space where you know your future lies and go into the light. So one of the things that we can do is burrow deep. It's a great time while the worlds are thin, merging, the darkness into the light. It's a great time for us to go into do shadow work and go into our subconscious. What do we need to clean up? What do we need to patch? What do we need to fix? So one of the things that we can do in exploring the darkness and exploring the darkness of who we are, what part of you do you keep hidden that maybe it's time to let out? So there's a couple of things, a couple of rituals that you can do to release those burdens. And one of them is a power stone meditation. And the power stone meditation is something you can use as certain crystals. Great crystals to use now if any of you are crystal people and you really want to know what ones you should be using. Black onyx is a beautiful crystal to use now. Black onyx is a stone that's black. It can be shiny if it's polished. And black onyx is a stone that dispels negativity. I don't know if you can see this on the table, Bob. But the black onyx that dispels negativity, I always put this on any table when I read or I'm doing any kind of psychic work, and I also always have one nearby when I meditate or do Reiki. The black obsidian really does dispel negative energy and lightens up the energy. Any dark stone or any black stone is good for that. Another really great stone is amethyst, and you notice I oftentimes use lavender, purple. All of the Zenkuda community promo is lavender and purple because it's a very high vibration. So when you work with amethyst, especially on a meditation time, it raises your vibration and you'll be able to get messages much more easily. Amethyst, obsidian also, black stone. Bloodstone is very good, and opals. And another one that's very good is tiger's eye. If you're just starting out with crystals, you want to keep tiger eye in your arsenal. Tiger eye is a motivating stone. It's a stone of promise. It's a stone that allows us to go safely into the underworld. And it's also a stone that heightens your intuition and your ambition. So if you're feeling low, if you're feeling tired, tiger's eye is wonderful for that. So the power stone meditation is very simple. You just take a stone that you identify with or that calls to you, and you go into a meditation and you assign the stone an energy of whatever you want to do. If it's meeting your spirit guide, which now when the worlds are merging and the veil is thin between worlds, fabulous time to find out who your spirit guide is or spirit animal is. Don't go in and say, I want to find out who my spirit guide is. When you go into a meditation or a journey or anything where you're going to be going into a different state of consciousness, you want to allow that to come in. So more so the prayer would not be, I want to see my spirit guide, show me my spirit guide. The prayer would be, I welcome the spirit guide as long as it's of the light to come and show themselves to me. Spirit guide, please reveal yourself. So you're asking and allowing that to come to you. You're not reaching for it. And a lot of people go into a meditation reaching for things. Oh, I want to see my past life. Don't go into a meditation reaching. Go into a meditation inviting and allowing, in love and in light. And you're apt to have more of a success with it. When you summon your spirit guide, there's a few things that you can do. And if you're looking for a guide, you're looking for a spirit guide, this is the best time of the year to do it when the veil is so thin. Let it come to you. You can ask your spirit guide to come to you in dreams before you go to sleep. If you're not very good at meditating, that's a great time. Just, go into sleep time, lay down in your bed, get ready to go to sleep. And just before you're dozing off, just say, Spirit guide, I invite you to reveal yourself. And it will come, especially in dreams now. Our dream state now is extremely active. You can do a closed eye meditation, which is a traditional meditation. Do this in a pitch black room or with a blindfold on because you really want to be able to see the images that come forward for you. And there's also something that is very, very potent this time of year, but I strongly suggest if you're going to do this particular meditation, make sure that you have a lot of white light around you, that you are praying for protection, because this is a time of year when you can open a portal that you may not close properly, and you may start to get visions or messages or things unbidden. And as fun as that may sound to people, you really don't want that to start happening. So whenever you do this particular meditation, which is very potent, make sure that you have yourself in some kind of a sacred space or sacred mindset. And this is what we call a mirror meditation. And a mirror meditation is where you take a white candle or candles around you, candlelight, and you can actually keep staring in the mirror at your eyes. And you'll probably be there a little while, so make sure you're sitting on a chair or a stool or whatever you're comfortable. And you will start to see your face morph. And usually it will morph into the spirit animal or something like, or you'll get some energy that you feel that is your spirit guide or spirit animal coming in. So the mirror meditation is very, very potent this time of year. There's also another meditation that you can do for past life with a mirror this time of year, because the veil is so thin and anything that reflects light will be very potent. So you can, it's a Celtic tale, but they say if you hold a white candle to the right side of your face and stare in a mirror, that you can see your past life over your shoulder. I've never done it, but I've heard about it. Herb smudging is also very potent if you have a space that you want to clear because maybe you've utilized that space a lot for one thing and you want to come in and start doing another type of thing there, or you just feel a need to clear a space. Herb smudging, very potent right now, especially between this weekend and the first week of November. Sage is very good. White sage, mugwort, bay leaf, and lavender are awesome if you can tie a little bundle and burn that to sage. I am a big fan of Santo Palo wood. That really, I love the smell. Whenever I'm having a get-together, I throw some of that in my fire in the house, in the fireplace, and it just permeates the whole house with joy. It's such a beautiful, beautiful light energy. Or if you don't have all those things, you can take a white taper and candle and just go around the house with that lit and banish old energy. There's a time when you really do want to renew, regenerate, refocus, because the energy is coming in to give us new time, new season, new light. So you want to do that. I have hat hair now. But I got a little warm in my witch hat. I'll put it on later. So there's also a meditation you can do with a black candle and a white candle. Now, I will tell you, I don't use black candles. Some people do. There's nothing wrong with it if you want to use it. I just don't use them. But you could use a dark candle and a light candle, maybe a blue candle and a white candle, whatever you want to do. But what you do is the darker candle symbolizes your past. It symbolizes what you need to release, your life decisions of the past year, and the experiences that you've had this past year. And you burn that darker colored candle and you reflect on the year. You reflect on those experiences. You reflect on your past experiences of this year and your life decisions that you made this year. And then you, after that reflection and that meditation on those things, you blow the candle out with gratitude for all that you've learned and all that has been given to you. And then you light the white candle and you meditate on your future using some of the things that you learned in the just prior meditation. And you blow out that candle knowing your future will be those things that came to the surface for you. Hello, you're on the Soul Space. Hello, you're on the Soul Space.
Oh.
Good evening.
Hi, sorry, it cut out a little bit. Hi, Georgia, there, and I was
Aaron, how are you? You did your move and I told you not to.
I know, that's why I was like, I know that it's off the subject, but I was like, I have to call and just kind of talk about that a little bit, how you were, even though I was hesitant on doing the move, I don't know, something happened with the contract and it came back, the day was Saturday, and I was like, you know what, let me just do it, and then
see, I saw something. I remember I said I saw something that's not going to be good. But you turned it around. You turned it around.
Oh. Yeah, it was not. There was a lot of things that just weren't finished, or no, not necessarily finished, but they were just damaged from the other person that lived there, and so. And then even my favorite mirror, I think someone thought I was throwing it away because I had it in the parking garage and I was trying to carry stuff in because the elevator actually, so literally with the movers, the elevator stopped working. That happened. There was
the universe was protecting you in a hard way.
Then my mirror got stolen, but I was like, okay, I'm going to take it with a grain of salt and just kind of keep going and turn it around. And I ended up getting a different apartment the same rate. It's bigger. It has kind of like the division that I wanted for the home office, and
That's awesome.
and everything's working out. So, but I did thought I would call and just say you were right. I got to give you your flowers and say that you hit the nail on the head. There was stuff wrong with the place.
So what I love about your story, Aaron, because I know we had messaged a little bit today, what I love about your story is I saw something in the cards that said, wait, it's not ready. I think I even said, if you play it back, something about I felt like that little repairs to do. And so that was the case, but you went ahead and you did it, which was fine. But I think the whole thing occurred the way it did because I know the things you're working on in your life is having patience and not, being impulsive. And you did that, and you had this beautiful patience when all these things happened, and the universe rewarded you with a better apartment. So I think it was really all happened the way it was supposed to. And then I do see the irony in the fact that your mirror was stolen, because I think that mirror reflected the old Aaron. And now you're going to probably go out and buy something new that'll reflect you the way you are right now in the present.
Yeah.
Because I know you had a lot of apprehension about moving back to an area where you had memories. So I think that mirror leaving was kind of symbolic of, no, that's the old. We need to bring in the new. So I think it's a great story. I think you're going to be really happy there. I think it's a great place. It's definitely cleansed now, that's for sure.
Yeah, it's definitely, I think I really like it. I really like the spot that I'm in. Like I'm a person that I don't like to go far for anything, and everything is just like a stone's throw. Like I'm
That's
very
awesome.
much a city person where I want to walk downstairs and there's, shops and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
So
well, it sounds like the
it
universe
worked
has
out
your
perfectly.
back. The universe definitely has your back, baby.
Yep, and I was like, I really just have to call Georgia and tell her that.
Thank
It's not
you
a
so
Halloween
much.
story, but
That's okay. It means a lot to me that you would do that, and it means more to me that like you're learning and growing in your life, and you're expanding, and there's so many good things coming for you, Aaron. So keep doing what you're doing, okay?
Okay. All right. Well,
Everybody send Aaron some love and give him a big hand for a good weekend that he had, because could have gone another way. They're sending you all hearts, Aaron. I see it on the comments. So thank you so much for calling in.
All right. Thank you.
So I have Deneen in comments, and Deneen is saying she suffers from sleep paralysis where dreams act out in my space, and it's a very scary experience. Many times that sleep paralysis is actually when we go to sleep, because I had that one time, and it is very scary. When we go to sleep, our soul starts to leave our body, actually hovers. I mean, if you're an auric worker, you can see auras that way. And when we are in that paralysis, it's actually the state of the soul trying to come back into the body, but it's not in yet, so we don't have movement. So try not to be afraid of that time. Instead, try and float with it, because the more resistance you give to it, the harder it's going to be for the soul, the spirit, and the physical body to connect. So allow that connection by relaxing. And then everything will go back into alignment, and you'll come back into the consciousness state that you're supposed to. All right? Try it. It should work for you. Hello, Bruno. How are you? Who else have I got on here? Oh, thank you, Christine. Sending love to you. So another really great ritual that you can do, that dark candle, light candle thing, I think is so great. And that's also a great ritual to do around New Year's. But another one that you can do is visualizing your shadow self and going into a meditation. But do this only if you're ready to embrace darkness, or you're ready to embrace that part of yourself that you're holding back from the world and that you are repressing. All right? If you're ready to do that shadow work and work on that part of yourself, this is a great meditation to make peace with your dark side, or peace with things that you have in your life that maybe you're not so proud of, or a wound or a side of you that you want to be able to clear. So anything that's hidden with you, you relax, and what you do is you visualize a doorway. And when you visualize this doorway, that doorway is the doorway that will always bring you back to your current self, your grounded self. So it eliminates the fear that you might feel when you're going in to do shadow work. Shadow work. Stop. That's my shadow. That's just that witch coming out again. But anyway, when you do shadow work and you go through this doorway, you're going to call softly to your shadow as you go through the doorway. And you're just going to say, shadow, I'm here to meet you. Please reveal yourself. And when you start to see things, or an image comes back, or a memory comes back of something that you've really kind of repressed, you don't want to think about, embrace it and give it love, because your shadow is showing you this for a reason, in order to help you grow and help you come into a place where this no longer controls you. And there's a great meditation to do for that, and you can do it gently, embracing those things that come in, those memories or those feelings that come in. And then when you see a memory, or you see the shadow giving you something that is a feeling or an experience that you've had that maybe you've repressed or you need to clear, sit with it. You're safe. You can go back through that doorway anytime you want. But when you sit with that shadow part of you, think about what it feels like. What does it look like? Who is the person in this memory? What is the experience? Am I young, old, fat, skinny? Do I feel fearful? Do I feel aggressive? Am I angry? Am I ashamed? What is the images? What is the feelings and the sensation of the shadow self? And when you do that, because you've got the door you can go back through anytime, be safe again. You have the ability to be strong enough to embrace it. And when you walk back out and you have had an experience like that and you're ready to finish the meditation, you just walk through the back through the door, embracing yourself and your shadow and merging the energy as accepted in the light. Another thing that you can do is draw a mandala. Mandalas are very, very effective this time of year, because mandalas are balanced and they show balanced energy. So in balancing the light and dark, you can either meditate on a mandala or draw one if you want. It represents wholeness. It represents unity. So mandalas are very powerful this time of year. And also, one way to honor the dead, the departed right now, because the veil is thin, is to set up an altar or a sacred space where you are honoring your departed relatives. Now, never put anything from the living on the same altar as the departed. If you have photos of departed souls on your altar, you want to have things or mementos or rituals or things you're offering to them on that altar. You never want to put a picture of yourself with a departed person on an altar or sacred space, because this is a homage to the ones who have departed in another world, so you wouldn't be mixing the light and dark in that way. So what you want to do is create a little sacred space. It could be a little corner on a table or whatever, where you maybe have something that are very fall-like. Orange candles, maybe a pumpkin or a gourd or corn stalk or something like that, very symbolic of harvest season. And maybe a photo of that departed loved one, maybe a food that they loved, or any kind of memento or anything where you would be honoring that relative, and it also symbolizes this time of transition, a turkey feather, things like that. And then you basically can just meditate on that departed loved one and talk to them as though they are here, and really find a message from them or feel their love surrounding you. And it's a beautiful way to really get that to come in and be part of your energy. If you're missing a loved parent and you want to feel their embrace again or feel their love again, that's a beautiful way to do it, to connect with your ancestors. Again, selenites are great for connecting with the ancestors. Amethyst, jaspers, smoky quartz, any of those type of crystals are also really, really good for that. And also you can meditate at that altar and bring a pen and paper and ask questions of your loved one and write down anything that comes up or comes to your mind, because normally that would be a message from them. And then the last thing I'm going to say to you is honor your departed people in those rituals. And that would be really, this time of year, a very potent and very powerful thing to do. Another thing that I would say is also clear your sacred space now. We do a lot of, for those of us who are light workers and watching, we do a lot of sacred ritual, and we do a lot of healing and a lot of energy work, a lot of card readings throughout the year. And as the year draws to a close, it's time to draw that energy to a close as well, and allow those experiences and those readings and those energies and those rituals to be put aside into the past. It's a great time for us to clean off our altars and our sacred rooms and our sacred healing spaces, and really start to refresh them and honor them and start to build the energy for the coming year in there. So really a great time to do that. Shungite and tiger's eye are great crystals for cleansing rooms. So nobody had any stories they wanted to call in with except Aaron tonight. That's okay. It's because the moon is void of course right now. So that's what happens to us. When the moon is void of course, we don't share and interact as much. But I will tell you, watch out for this weekend because it's going to be a Lulu. It's going to be a doozy. So I have Joanne and Maya calling, asking me for a card. Really wasn't going to pull cards tonight, but I'll do one for you because we have a couple of minutes. But I also want to say you can watch me on channel 115 of Optimum Cable at 8 p.m. So when the show is over live, it goes right out there. It's really cool to do that. And I believe it might be a week behind those, so you're getting a replay. And Joanne, I'm going to pull a really good card for you. And then I'm going to pull a card for everybody for what this weekend's going to be like and what my prediction is. Those cards fell out, so those are Joanne's cards. Joanne, I am seeing this beautiful card of resurrection and light, and you going into the light. So right now, if there's anything happening for you that is questionable, follow your intuition. I think it's going to be a good thing, so go with it. And what I will say is these are cards of resurrection for me. I see a lot of light coming forward and you going towards the light. So during this time when the veil is thin and light and dark are mixing each other, go towards the light because that's really good for you, okay? So now whatever's going on, whatever you're questioning, there's something that you're trying to make a decision on, trying to see if it's good or bad. Go forward with it. You know, put the car in drive. I think it's good for you. So now I'm going to pull a card from each deck that I have here tonight, a soul card and a tarot card, to predict how the energy is going to be for this Halloween weekend, okay? That witch keeps coming out. I don't know what to do. It's like my alter ego or something. I don't know. Somewhere around here. I don't know. So, who we got on tonight anyway? We got a lot of people watching. Okay. So I'm pulling a card. This is the card Spirit told me to take. Woo! Powerful card. I think there's going to be a lot of things going on this weekend, guys. We got fire. We got people. I feel like there's almost a card of conflict. I feel like there's a lot of dark energy here. Woohoo! But we've also got a lot of red, a lot of passion. Let's see what the tarot says. I'm going to leave this card right here. Let's see what the tarot is telling us tonight. You're welcome, Sarah. Sarah has such a sweet energy. This card is upside down, backwards. That goes in here. Okay. I don't know why, but driving to the show tonight, I had this weird craving. Not for food. I very rarely crave food. I'm never really hungry. But I had, sorry, dropped a card. I had a craving to go to Atlantic City. Now, why I would have a craving for that, I have no idea, because that would really be one of the last places I would ever want to go. But shuffling these cards just reminded me of it. It's like for some reason I was like, I need to go to Atlantic City. So, okay, one of my favorite places is the Borgata. I need to go there and go to the spa. So, the water club up there. Okay, so, this is the tarot card. Oh, yeah. We got quite a weekend coming in, guys. We've got the broken heart card. Oh, sorry. Sometimes things happen, but they always happen for a reason. And when these things happen, a lot of passion. Again, that red heart, that Scorpio, Mars and Scorpio. I have Mars and Scorpio natally, so I know what it's like. Very, very passionate. And I think this is going to be breakups to makeups, okay? So if you have a passionate fight, it's going to end in great makeup, boop, boop. And if you have a breakup, it's probably going to be temporary because Mercury is still a little bit in the shadow. But this is a card of broken hearts. But I also see this as a card of resurrection, because if you're stuck somewhere that you really shouldn't be, maybe this has to happen in order for you to let it go. And that always leads to a beautiful resurrection. So there's always light after the dark. You got to know that, you know. So we have another Soul Space this next Monday coming up on the 1st. We have Joe Dario coming in. He's a psychic that is going to be answering calls, and he and I are going to be talking about what we do and how we tune into the other side. I hope you all have a really safe Halloween. And then also, we're going to start a beautiful new event, which will actually be live here in Paradise Studios on the last Sunday of every month. And it will also be available for pay-per-view for you through Strong Island. And that is going to be a monthly astrology horoscope about the month ahead. And I'll be doing that live on Sundays. The first one is November 28th. And we'll give more information for you on strongisland.com. And I can't wait to see you all. So that's the show for tonight. Have a really safe and happy Halloween. And watch out for those witches. Woo-hoo-hoo-hoo-hoo. Scary times ahead. Be careful. Night, everybody.